Hey, I had a deposited a check today through my cell phone, and it said the number that you typed in doesn't match the number on the check. I said, "Nigga, if you don't fucking deposit this money."
Wow, y'all not censoring yourselves.
Oh, no.
Hey. I was like, damn, okay. I'm so sorry. I guess I got to update my Zoom. Hey, Justin.
How you doing? So, Wendy, this is my homeboy Lee.
Hi, homeboy Lee.
How you doing?
He wanted to make sure his eyebrows was looking good for you, Wendy.
You know,
Let me put my glasses on.
I'm gonna get on here with
I'll be damn, they look better than mine.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? How you doing?
What is that, Maybelline or L'Oreal? What is
No,
that?
you know, I had to go get them threaded for this. I said, we're gonna be talking to Wendy Raquel. I got to, you know.
And I threw on a hat, honey. It looked like it's about to rain out here. So I'm like, yeah, wow. How are you?
I'm doing
good.
Fantastic.
This nigga here. You shut your ass up. Right.
I'm out, Wendy. Okay, see y'all later.
Yeah, so he'll be on the case like I mentioned something. He might pop up something on the screen. He might not.
How are you?
I'm good, yo. Hey, so first of all, I want you to know, appreciate you for doing this. I started this podcast because I wanted to celebrate people that I feel like are living legends and making legendary moves. To me, you've been you look incredible too. You know you look 23.
Oh, darling, you know, when you mentioned legend, I started freaking out here. I'm sorry. I need to change this water to vodka. Okay.
Nah, whatever you drinking, you drinking the right stuff, whatever you drinking. So
Thank you.
Hold on, I want to say your credits real quick before we get into it, because I'll be quick to like forget to say somebody credits. It's all my damn fault. Hold on.
Oh, you professional.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I try to be. You know. Here we go. Okay. The Steve Harvey Show, The Game, Miss Congeniality, Two Could Play That Game, Family Guy, Thin Line Between Love and Hate, Dear White People, Insecure, and too many guest star roles to name. You know what I was thinking when I was looking up your credits? I said, Wendy will never go broke. There's no way.
No, because it's Wendy Robinstein.
Oh, hey.
You know what I'm talking about? I know how to squeeze a dollar till it holler, baby. Okay, this is what we gonna do. No.
But your residuals, you
Oh my God, don't talk about that. I'm going through a divorce. But yeah.
Are you really?
And cut to the next subject.
Oh shit. Okay. I knew you was divorced, but I thought it happened a while ago.
Woo! See, I overshare.
She broke.
Yeah, child. Broke, busted, and disgusted. How about that? Yeah.
Hey, so the way we just met, she did a guest star. Wendy, you did a guest star on MacGyver. Killed it. I mean this, man. You are
so much fun. And you know what's so crazy? I'm like, okay, I felt like I was doing a whole different show than what y'all have been doing. It was like, you know how somebody come in on a different rhythm and you guys are like, well, you know, in the auto first stage of this, that, and the other. I come in like, hey, let me ask you something.
But you killed it. But see, listen, that's what I learned. Season 1, I came in, you know, we got the same energy.
We do.
We got the same energy, which is why we clicked automatically, immediately. And what I had to learn on that show, I was like, oh, let me bring it down a little bit, because I came out there like, hey, what's up? And then all the white people was like, Justin, I need you to quiet. Right. I was like, oh, okay. We doing the whisper acting. That's what we doing.
Right. Which I can do. And what's so crazy, and I don't trip on my credits, but the one that, it hurt so bad when we didn't get renewed, was Grand Hotel. That was the last show that I was on. And it was Eva Longoria's show. And it was all these amazing Latin American actors. And, you know, and everyone did the whisper show and this and the other, and, you know, and blah, blah, blah. It was crime, suspense, and sex and drama and this, that, and the other. And I had found the rhythm. It was so freaking amazing. But yeah, we didn't get picked up. So I know that bittersweetness that just comes with this industry. And it sucks, but it's also the same thing that keeps us, you know, I want to say it's kind of like it's it's addicting. You know, it's like, damn, okay, I need another job with the whole little thing. Look, give it to me now. You know, it's that.
Well, I was gonna ask you about that because MacGyver we just found out like 2 weeks ago MacGyver wasn't being renewed, and I've been on.
I had already made plans, honey, about our relationship. I don't wrote a backstory. That's just.
Yeah, as soon as they give me my black parents on the show, they cancel the show. Ain't that about a bitch?
You weren't canceled. It just wasn't renewed.
It just wasn't renewed. Absolutely. How do you deal with cancellations? Or how did you, like, do you have a different mindset than you had back in the day, or what kind of your process of dealing with that?
You know, for me, it's interesting because I was pilot queen forever. I did everybody's pilot. I'm talking about Kid and Play pilot. I mean, all the pilots that
Kid and Play had a pilot?
Baby, did they? NBC. So I did so many pilots that never got picked up. So to be able to go on shows that have a run, it's like, it's amazing. And then I'll get those shows like Cedric the Entertainer. We did a sketch comedy show. And that's like my whole thing. I love doing characters. And it really felt like the closest thing to SNL with a little bit of living color with it. And we just knew we were coming back, and boom, we did one season and that was it. So, you know, you get attached to the cast, the crew, the characters, you know, and everything, but you got to know that it's for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, you know. And I just take those memories with me, and I take those lessons with me. I take those relationships with me, because it's such a small business that you're always going to be, you know, okay, case in point. I did the Sinbad pilot.
I was gonna bring that up.
Okay, well, this is what's so crazy. Oh, did I share that story with you?
I don't think so. I just seen it. I seen it as one of your first credits, and I wanted to talk about it. Yeah.
But an incredible credit, because one of the PAs, she was a stage PA answering the phones, you know, and I just like to meet everybody. And so I'm just talking to her, and she's like, no, I'm a writer. And I was like, okay. I was like, because you're so cute answering these phones and everything. Turns out it was Mara Brock-Akil.
Wow.
And she never forgot me, because I just, you know, took the time to make the time, and we just talked this, that, and the other. And even though I auditioned for Girlfriends 8 times, never got it. And I was like, well, damn, why they keep calling me back? Why they keep calling me back? And Mara was like, no, I got you, Wendy, you know. And she finally told me that after I booked Tasha Mack, because she created the show. But, you know, it's just one of those things, you never ever know who's watching. Like, even with your show, it was so crazy with MacGyver. When I got the script, and I was like, wait, this character really resonated with a whole community side that I have, because I run a nonprofit. And, you know, I'm always with the kids, and, you know, you got to do this, you know, don't make sense, you know, for you to be a part of a think tank and this, that, the other, blah, blah. See, and I'm talking too much. This is your podcast.
No, this the point.
Let me let you answer the question.
No, people want to hear you talk. Nobody don't want to hear shit I got to say.
Talk too much. Oh my God, shut up. But no, but it was so crazy. And then finally I spoke with the exec producer, Monica Macer, and we just had a long, great conversation. She had never met me. I had never met her. And she was just saying how she, you know, saw my body of work, felt like it would be a good fit for me to be your mom. They had to show where you got your comedic side, but still be able to bring some depth and some layers. And it just really works. So you just never know in this business who's watching you, who's seeing you, who's a fan, who's a friend, who's a foe, you know. So you just do the work, and you just hope that, you know, the work will speak for itself.
Yeah, no, that's something my mom and dad taught me very early. There's always someone watching you. That was the first thing. And then what I came to realize working in this business is relationships is your most valuable asset. So, you know, I always practice being a good person for the sake of being a good person. That's number one. You should just be a good person.
I love that.
But number two is you ought to be a good person, because you never know where someone's going to be at in their career 5, 10 years from now, you know, 20 years from now. When you may be struggling, you may not be hot stuff at that time, you know, and and those people that you did right by or wrong by are going to remember.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
absolutely. It's so funny. I went to Howard, and one of the things I'll never forget at commencement, it was like, look to your left and look to your right, because those are the people that are going to be making decisions. Those are the people that are going to be, you know, you're going to be working with, you're going to be doing. It's like, But, no, I'm kidding. But cut to, look to my left and to my right, and boom, you know, I was there. It was, Taraji was there, Anthony was there, Anthony Anderson, Paula J. Parker, Isaiah Washington. You know, it was just, who knew? We were just some knucklehead kids, you know, trying to hang lights with shoestrings and bubble gums. You know what I mean? So,
wow.
But yeah, you just never know, and treat everybody equally, respectfully, and kindly. I believe that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. That was actually one of my questions. Who were some?
See, I talk too much.
No. This is great. I mean, that's what I'm telling you. Our energy is so we in sync. We in sync. It got to a point on MacGyver. We was finishing each other's jokes and yeah, we gotta do something else. I don't really see you as my mama though. We gotta do something where you like my sister, auntie, or something.
Something.
Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to it.
Was there any person, because you just listed off a laundry list of people that are now famous working celebrity actors, right? Was there any actor or comedian that blew up in their career that you wasn't expecting it to happen? Or was there somebody who you saw them early on and you was like, this person gonna be a star, and then they went off and accomplished, you know, what your instincts were telling you?
Wow, that's an amazing question.
Well, thank you.
No, really. I mean, it is. Wow. I can't say that there was someone that I saw and was like, ooh, you're going to be X, Y, and Z. But there were people that I've been blessed to work with, and it was like, wow, you the shit. And to see them, like, case in point, Ashton Sanders, he's one of my students, and I've had him since he was like 8 years old. But he was a kid that had this amazing ability, you know, to do improv and characters and flip it, switch it, this pop, 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 you know, just has this huge range from comedy to drama to melodramatic to this, that, the other. And, you know, now he was, you know, in Moonlight, which was nominated and won for the Oscar. Now he's in Judas and the Black Messiah, which is also, you know, up for this year's Oscar.
Yeah, so
it wasn't that, yeah, I was like, ooh, you're going to make it. Because actually his testimony is amazing. I'm this scrawny Black kid from Carson. He's from Carson, which is Compton's, you know, adjacent.
Home of Ray J.
Oh, well. So they say.
Oh, so they say, gotcha.
Black Heart Story. Yeah. Right. By way of Mississippi.
Okay.
Look, okay, cut to, boom, here we go. I did Thea. Okay, so it came to Thea. I don't even know if you know Thea, but she's
I know Thea.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know like that, but
Thea show. And it was interesting. Day one, she was like, oh, you gonna play my sister? And I was like, yeah, you know. Oh, and it was like, wow, okay. Anyway, cut to, Brandy was on the show, and Ray J was in the audience, and they didn't even have an agent at the time.
Wow.
Right. But they had, you know, Brandy had booked Thea and, you know, was doing great things and had guided, because they had done a play, I think it was Oliver the Musical or whatever. And my agent was in the audience. They connected, hooked up, you know, that was a long time ago because they've moved on since then. But that was just one situation where, you know, Brandy wasn't Brandy.
Right.
But she was like, damn, you know, girl, you got all this talent. You can sing, you can act, you can this. And it was causing a little mayhem with, you know, those that aren't as secure in their talent on the set. But she continued to shine, you know, and look at where she is now. So yeah, that would definitely be an example of someone that just, wow, you got it, girl.
I was going to ask you that. Well, one question is, was Thea Brandy on Thea? That was before her music was released? That was before that, or it's around the same time?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that's Googleable. I don't think she had her, because sitting up in my room and all of that, I don't think that was out yet. But it was neck and neck.
Right. Hey, Lee, look that up. You ain't doing shit around there.
Yeah, look that up.
Give me a second.
Non-participant.
Yeah, oh, non-participant ass.
Okay, right.
How do you deal about that when, because you worked on several shows with multiple cast members, so I can only assume egos come into play on some of those casts. I'm sure some are better than others. How do you deal with navigating egos, basically, when you see them arise on the set?
It's a dance. It's a dance. And, I guess because maybe it is. It took me 53 years to know who I am, and I know how to just kind of navigate it. And it's like, you ever play God, what was that called? Ping pong.
Mm-hmm.
No, not ping pong, but.
Yeah, when you knock the ball, like those mini tennis thing.
No, this is the machine, and you hit the pinball.
Oh, pinball, yeah.
Oh, Lord. But you know how it ding, 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 ding. It's like you duck, you dodge, you bob, you weave, but you still deliver. And you deliver unashamedly. So when it's your turn to do your thing. But you also know, it's a dance. And then you also know, who's on top as well. I'll give you a case in point, Sandra Bullock. Oh my God. When I did Miss Congeniality, I was so intimidated. Number one, it was like the biggest budget movie I had ever worked on, and probably the second movie I had ever done. And she was, at the height of her career. And, I was girl crushing. I was like, oh God, what to do? Let me tell you what this woman did. Number one, our birthdays are a day apart. So
wow.
Really. And number two, we were like the top 5 finalists in the beauty pageant and all of that. She took us to this because we were shooting in Austin. She took us to this little rundown bar where her boyfriend at the time was playing. He was in this little grunge band. Candace Bergen, Benjamin Bratt, Michael freaking Caine.
Wow.
And these 5 young girls, we just sat up there having beer, chilling. You know what I mean? So she broke the ice immediately. It wasn't about egos. It was like, let's just play. Let's have fun. Let's, and she normalized not only herself, but, these mega stars. And I guess, I don't know, she was probably putting herself in our positions because the 5 young ladies, we were all, pretty much newbies. Mm-hmm. And Melissa DeSosa was one. She had been around, but, we were still kind of like, you know how, have you ever been on a project? It's like, oh, Lord, I hope I'll be back tomorrow and they don't fire my ass.
Well, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I've been there for sure. And I was going to ask you about that because you've done so many guest star roles. How do you feel about doing those? Like when you do, like, I don't know, is there any type of hesitation, reservation to do them? Do you feel like the new kid at school, or are you just like, yo, I'm Wendy Raquel Robinson, I got this shit, it is what it is, What?
Hell no. And like I said, I'm even more nervous when I show up to someone's house and play in their sandbox, because there's a rhythm that's established. You know what I mean? Like even on MacGyver, you guys, y'all been together, y'all got inside jokes, y'all got a rhythm, you got this, and then I come in like, hey, and it's like, oh, cool down. So I love doing guest spots and recurring and things like that because number one, I get a chance to not only work with actors that are amazing like you, but other directors. And like you said, it's all about relationships and getting a feel for it. But the challenge does come in, when you've been Queen Bee, like on Steve Harvey, that was 6 seasons. The Game was like 10 plus off and on, so we had a rhythm. We were, so everybody that would come onto The Game, it was kind of like, okay, let's say it was a guy that had a love scene. It's like, all right, take off your clothes. I'm Wendy. What's your name? Okay. And action. You know what I mean?
Right.
They didn't have time, but we were seasoned in what it was. It just, you just got to jump in. So I've put myself in the position of the other actors that have to come on and guest star and try and make them as comfortable in an uncomfortable situation at times. So yeah, I don't think it's anything that really gets new. Well, not for me. I'm always in my head.
Well, I made sure to let that be known on the set. I wasn't number one. I had a show where I was number one. It was called Rush Hour, and that got canceled during the commercial break. But
They just didn't pick it back after.
They just did. It just wasn't renewed.
They just didn't renew it.
Yeah. But on that show and even on MacGyver, even though I wasn't number one, I still made it a point to always make the guest stars feel comfortable, because I knew the more comfortable the actor feels, the better the performance they're going to give. If you make them feel like, why you fucking up and what you know, get your shit together, you know, I know they go tighten up and you're not going to get the best out of them.
Right.
So,
well, you know, honey, that day one, take one. I was like, wait, y'all, I swear I know this monologue. I don't know what is happening.
Hey, did you watch the episode?
Yeah, they cut it.
They cut it.
I was like, well, but I knew I fucked up. I was like, oh my God, I knew it. But I was good with it. And I get it. That's what I'm saying. It's such a humbling business. It's a writer's medium. It's an editor's medium. But I knew. I was like, Wendy, you sit up here, you were talking head. I know where my things lie. And I'm not the phosphoric, you know, and then the lake, and then the Michigan, and this. But I swear I knew that damn monologue. And what it was, everybody was so foreign. It was so foreign. It was like, I was like, why are we starting with this damn thing?
Yeah.
But anyway.
But let me tell you, they done played me like that too on the show though. They done had me memorize whole monologues. And I mean, I did monologue well, you know what I'm saying, off top.
Well, I didn't. And I knew it.
But you still did it though. No, you had at least 1 or 2 solid takes though.
1 or 2 out of 10.
You know, it'd be like that sometimes. But you know, praise God.
So embarrassed. That was the hardest day for me. So it's like don't get too comfortable with this business. You know what I mean? But it was a lot of things that were happening, you know. And when I got the job, I was so ready to run away from LA, going through a little bad breakup. That's a whole other thing. We back together. Things are good. But it was just.
On MacGyver?
Yes.
Oh, so you had just went through some stuff.
Okay, I'm there. It was my escape.
Gotcha.
I love, you know, being able to do that.
And this, wait a minute, this is separate from the divorce.
Oh, you know what? Justin Hires.
I'm just.
Justin Hires. One day you're going to be 50-something.
I know.
Okay.
I know. And I don't know.
And I'll come and interview you. Okay. Legend.
Hey, I tell you what, you look great for 50. What you said, 52, 53?
Anyway, we moving on, honey.
Hey, I'm just letting you know. You know what I'm saying? You ain't hurting.
Oh my God.
You ain't hurting. Somebody wants you out here. Hey, I want to back up because I want to get into the Steve Harvey and the game and all of that stuff. But I want to back up and you was born and raised in LA, right? How was that? South Central. How was that? Because I'm assuming you was there before like the gang and crack epidemic type thing that was going on in the city, and you've been there after that's kind of passed and died down. So what was that like growing up in LA and then kind of seeing the transformation when those type of events started to happen in your community?
Wow. So I'm gonna give you an example. My high school yearbook, there's at least 10 pages that are dedicated to drive-bys and students that were killed. And I went to Washington High, and actually they did a movie about my school, the George J. McKenna story. Have your friend look that up.
Yeah, because he ain't even look up the other shit. What are you doing?
I did. She was in mid-story, and I raised my hand. Nobody said nothing. So it was.
We having our own chat.
You know, that's why I raised my hand. I ain't gonna jump in. I'm gonna look it up. What you want me to look up?
No, nigga. The other information we asked for.
She recorded the album in '93, and the show was going on in '93 and '94. So she was doing the same thing, doing it at the same time.
Oh wow.
So, Raquel, you trying to get me fired? I got miles of feet.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. And so somebody was feeling some type of way.
Yeah. It's like, turn the volume down. Turn your light is too bright.
Your light is.
You know, but.
Well, I actually wrote that down too. Hold on. What were we was just about to talk about Lean on Me, right? That's what you was.
No, it wasn't. Lean on Me was in Jersey and New York. We were talking about the George J. McKenna story.
Okay.
About my high school.
Gotcha.
I went to George Washington Prep, which is the Wash House. Okay, Suge Knight had his little female there, you know. Yo-Yo went there. It was a lot of us that went there at the time, but what I was saying was that it was in the height of, cocaine, and drive-bys were just out of control. And it was a lot. I mean, gangs, you had to know what area you grew up in. I grew up A-Trade Gangsta Crip. You had to know who was who, what was what, and I mean, I'm thankful for that experience. I didn't realize how desensitized I was until I saw Boys in the Hood. And that's why I always pay homage to, John Singleton, may he rest in peace, because he really, what he put on screen was so pure and so authentic that I forgot I had been desensitized to helicopters. I was desensitized to, just all of those elements. And that was it. That was my high school. Those were my high school years. Yeah, it was real. I mean, but there was still fun and joy and all of that too, just like in Boys in the Hood. You know what I mean? There was, girls, we had fun. I think that's how I'm able to navigate, from going to the hood to the White House. I could do that, and still feel comfortable in both worlds. But it was a very, very interesting time, and it was a dark time, but there was still light in it, because when you're in something, you don't know how deep it is because you're in it,
right.
And even going to Howard, when I left, it was a culture shock, because everybody was a doctor's daughter or a doctor's son. And it was like, well, my daddy works at the post office and he was and a custodian and my mom was a nurse, and it was just normalcy. So I had a hard time adjusting my first semester.
This is what I want to ask you, because you are an attractive woman. Going to college. You're welcome. Going to college though. I know I went to Clark Atlanta University and another HBCU, and I saw it seemed like some women were having difficulties when they start seeing other beautiful women. Like they were used to being the most beautiful person in their neighborhood.
The one, right?
The one.
Right.
And then they get to college and like, oh, there's
everybody. The one.
So as a woman, how was that? Because I've never actually, I don't think, asked a woman how did you deal with that, or did you not deal with that, being around all these other attractive, beautiful women in college when you grew up being the one?
Well, what's interesting, I didn't think I grew up being the one, but I was always, I was a cheerleader and, doing all that kind of stuff in high school. But when I got to Howard, I think it wasn't about not being the one. It was almost kind of like a classism kind of thing, whereas so many of them that were the ones and they were beautiful, they knew each other from the Jack and Jill conferences and the medical conventions and, the prearranged and, all of that. Like my roommate, she knew so many people, that, oh, well, we grew up at the conventions and this, that, and the other. So it was a whole other world of Black networking that I knew nothing about. I'm A-Trade Gangsta Crip. I was, watching how I'm coming through like this, and it was like I had braids that were asymmetrical. I was her walking on campus wearing white pumps and getting clowned by the Omegas. California's here, and I was like, yeah, didn't know I was getting clowned, but. It was crazy. So I think that more than anything was the one thing that just really made me feel very, insecure and question a lot. But I'm so thankful for the drama department because they had us so wrapped up in rehearsals and production. And if you weren't in it, you were doing the practicums and you had to do the stage management. So, I mean, from like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I never even went to a homecoming game. How do you go to a HBCU?
What?
Yeah, we were always in rehearsal.
Damn.
It was
you
crazy.
Missed Howard's homecoming?
I know. And I probably could have, done it, but it was like, my priorities were so, I was really, really focused. And it was a small department. I mean, it was like 30 of us came in as acting concentrations and 3 of us graduated.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was intense. But yeah, I hope I answered that question. Yeah, because everybody is the one and bringing it between brains, beauty, body, everything. It was just like, wow. So what do? You network and make it happen. I
So
never had a college sweetheart. Yeah, maybe that's it.
what?
Yeah, because I wasn't the one.
Lee over there, right now, like, oh, is that right?
Is that listen here?
I wasn't the one, man. I wasn't the one. Yeah, but it wouldn't have, I couldn't have even seen the trajectory of where my life probably would have gone if I had gotten in a relationship. You know what I mean? Because I probably wouldn't have done as many things that I did, outside of Howard, because I was working in DC. DC is a very progressive city. I mean,
It is.
it's a lot. It's a lot to do.
I love DC. That's probably one of my favorite cities to perform stand-up comedy in.
Oh wow.
I headlined there 2019, before the pandemic, 2019, and I'm talking about killed. But they got it. Like the racial jokes, to the regular relationship jokes, like they got it. And I'm talking about, man, I love performing in DC. I can't wait to go back and perform there. How did you go about getting your start in acting? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to know, like, what steps did you take back then, and then what even piqued your interest to get into acting?
Wow. So as a kid, I started as a dancer. I was modern jazz, ballet, hip hop. Well, hip hop wasn't even out then, but more modern jazz and contemporary dance. And from there, and really, really taking dance seriously, that's how musicals came about. And I'm talking like, I'm like 10, 11, 12. So I was doing like West Side Story, but I was the one that would know everybody's lines like a soundtrack in my head, but, and would be clowning with, like all the ensemble players. But, the directors didn't know. I was the sponge that was in the back and just would really absorb everything. And then, of course, I know this sounds so crazy, but we had taken our little production of West Side Story up to San Francisco. One of the little girls slipped on the cobblestone, fell, busted her butt. I was like, I knew
I could do
it. Matter of fact, I tripped her ass. No, I did. But it was an oogly oo girl, and it was our whole little rendition of West Side, and I did it and fit it, and it was a very natural progression for me, and it worked. And then I used to put on plays in my backyard, 84th place in South Central, because that's all we did was play. It was like 25 kids on my street.
Wow.
Like, it was crazy. It was crazy. Petey, Paul, Judy, LaShawn, Perry, Theron, Keisha, Tara, they all lived across the street. And then on my side, it was like all these other kids. And it was like, and we were all around the same age. So
wow.
in the summer, we get together, write little skits and stuff, put them on in the backyard. I mean, I had like a whole little carport area that was dressed like, a little theater. Didn't know what we were doing, but we were just doing it and just being creative. And then I just started doing more and more plays, and theater just really became a thing, to a point where now I'm in high school and getting ready to graduate, and the counselors are like, so what do you want to do? And it was like, I want to do what I've been doing, and then they presented Howard and showed me all the alumni from, Felicia and Debbie and Roxy Broker and everybody that I admired. And I applied, I got in, and I majored in drama. And even after Howard, it was hard. I mean, I ain't gonna say it was like, oh, and it was a steady progression.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why I stayed in DC and did a lot of equity theater and worked at, Arena Stage, got my equity card, and was working with children and doing children's theater. And Howard, HBCUs, they blow your head up.
Right.
So blew my head up so big, I come to LA and I'm like, well, why isn't William Morris calling me?
Right.
I don't understand. Or paging me. We had pagers back then. And I couldn't get an agent, I couldn't get a manager, I couldn't get anything. So I went on tour with plays. So one of the shows I did for like, oh my God, about 3 or 4 years. You talk about saved so much money. I bought several pieces of property with it. Was Beauty Shop, which was
wow.
It's in It's in the Smithsonian now. Shelley Garrett's Beauty Shop. He did everything that was a pre-prototype that Tyler Perry is doing, except for the films. So he took up-and-coming actors, put us in this play. We would sit at the Beacon Theater, sold out for like 5 weeks in New York. Yeah.
What's his name again?
Shelley Garrett. S-H-O. Oh, tell the homie. Shelley Garrett.
Lee.
He's in the Smithsonian now, though, for Beauty Shop and what he did with that. That's where I met Kim Whitley.
Wow.
So the touring.
You know, that's who else they was thinking about to play my mama.
But I can see it. No, that's my girl. That's my girl.
It was between y'all two. But
really?
Yeah. But
that would have been totally different.
Totally different. I know it would have been.
Oh my God. But I've known her. She's been one of my dearest friends for over 30 years.
That's what's up. I would love to have Kim on the show. You was the top choice. I believe you was the top choice. But you need
Kim.
Yeah.
Kim is a beast though. But no, we're from that same. She does stand up, which I do sit down.
Right. Yeah. Right, because see, you have the same thing. Like I seen Regina Hall talk one time at I was at an award show, like BET Honors or some award show I was at, and she was presenting. And she was so funny. The next year they made her the host of that's how funny I remember sitting in the audience and I'm talking about, she was firing off. And I'm like, I know she's not a stand-up comedian, but Niecy Nash is like that too.
Exactly. You know, I've known Niecy since high school. We go back some 30 years. Crazy. We started as dancers together. She went to Gardena and I went to Washington. So our history is it's impactful. But I'm a huge Regina Hall fan. Yeah.
Now I want to touch on something because I realized this. Sometimes, I feel like people that kind of grew up in LA see, like, Hollywood seem far away to y'all. Is that
wow. That's so interesting you say that, because when I first started training, like Kim Fields was in the class, and that's when she had all those Mrs. Butterworth commercials. I don't even know. See, look, you probably don't even know all of this.
I didn't know she had Mrs. Butterworth commercials.
Oh my God, it was huge. It was huge.
No, I didn't know about that.
Talk, and now that I look at it, it was really racist. She's like, Mrs. Butterworth was very condescending to this little black girl. And, Kim was just a little, oh, Mrs. Butterworth, what are you made of? I made of it was basically, I made of all the things you ain't gonna never be, nigga. You know what I mean? But she didn't say that, but that was all, but we all wanted to be in the Mrs. Butterworth commercials. And Kim was, we all went to this place called Inner City Cultural Center. And she was so close, and it was like, Mama, I want to do it. But nobody knew how to do it. And we're sitting in a city that's saturated with opportunity, but it did seem like it was so far away. Wow. Unless you knew the ins and outs and your parents knew how to, get you in and this, that, and the other. And which, like I said, my dad was at the post office and my mom was a nurse. They just didn't know. But it was like, well, baby, you want to do this? They put me in the classes. But yeah.
Right, because anyone that don't know the geography, like, she's probably an hour, maybe 40 minutes from Hollywood, a drive, I'm saying.
If that.
But she still flew all the way to D.C. to take...
To find myself.
But let me tell you something that's very important that I think any up and coming actor needs to realize is you got the training. See, a lot of people just be like, I want to act. I do comedy shows, and after the show, hey man, throw me in a movie, throw me in a TV show. And it's like, what training have you done? Like, that's like me coming, you a mechanic, and I'm like, hey man, give me a job doing mechanic. You'll be like, well, do you know how to work on cars? I'm like, no, nigga, but I like what you do.
Yeah, right.
You don't look at me like I'm absurd, Right. So I think that's still important that you found yourself, because I felt like I found myself in college too. I was always the popular one. However,
no, not you.
Yeah, I've been that king out here in these streets. But but you know what I always tell people too? the least popular I've ever felt has been Hollywood. That's the least popular I've ever felt. All my life, I was always that dude. Like, that's Justin. I'm hosting the talent shows.
Wow.
You know, I don't have no problem with women, you know, girl, just because I'm funny, you know. Right. So even though I'm not 6'2", all that, they're like, he made me laugh, though, you know.
Right.
So, but when I got to Hollywood and started facing that rejection, and you like, wait a minute, I'm not accustomed to
this. You do know I'm a number one, right?
Right, straight up. So, but so I still think it's important because so when I went to college, I was kind of dealing with trying to fit in with certain people, and I'm like, man, these people don't really mess with me like that, you know. And I had to like really come to like, man, who is just like I got to get back to my roots and know who I am, and not be concerned about fitting in, but continue to stand out.
Exactly. And that was the biggest, I want to say, wake-up call for me, where I really questioned, okay, am I doing the right thing? You know, here I am, I majored in drama, but, you know, I can't act, you know. I couldn't get a job to do that. So after I had toured and then came back to LA, still couldn't get an agent, and I started teaching in LA. I was working with Marla Gibbs. She had a performing arts school out here. And from there, I started my own school, me and my business partner, and it turned out to be the greatest thing some 25 years later that I could have ever done. So it's about finding your way and your path, you know, because I'm not the most popular out here, you know what I mean? And there's so many of my peers that are doing like incredible shit, you know, but it's like, it's their season. Everybody has their season. So I don't compare myself, but sometimes it'd be like, damn, I would have loved to have done that. But I just know it's like, my time is coming. You know, everybody's like, so what's the best job you had? And I'm like, it's my next one.
Straight up.
It really is. It really, really is. And creating that opportunity for myself is where I am right now, and the kind of role that I really, really want to do.
Absolutely. Well, you know what they say, comparison is the thief of joy.
Ooh! Tweet that, work that, and work that. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Straight up.
Straight up. Present if you're comparing yourself, and it's robbing you of that present moment of joy. Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, yeah, that's that, because we all get caught up, especially in the entertainment business. You looking at what your peers are doing, and he booked that, and she booked this, and why this not happening to me yet? If it, you know, and you get in your head, and you got to be like you say, you just got to enjoy the ride, be thankful for the blessings where you're at. Everybody had their seasons, because I mean, man, you know, you'll look at a TV show and you will see somebody that was popping in the 80s or 90s. You can't find these niggas now. You know?
Careful.
You still popping, Wendy. But you still popping.
But no, but that's real talk, you know. And now social media wasn't around when I was coming up like you are, you know. So I cannot imagine being, you know, let's cut back to 30 years ago and where I was and just trying to navigate through this thing. But now you got social media that's pretty much, you know, calculating every step, or feeling like I have to take breaks from social media because it really gets toxic, and it gets me in my head of, you know, everybody's posting their most fabulous life, and it's like, oh God, what am I doing? You know, and I was like, no, my worth isn't predicated on what everybody else is doing. I am who I am, and I, like you said, wow, comparison is the thief of joy.
Straight up.
I'm very careful in who I follow, what I follow, and how often I follow it.
No, straight up, as you should be. So I want to touch on these things before I let you go.
Oh Lord, because I was like, is this a marathon podcast? No, I'm kidding.
Nah. The conversation been so good, you know. I want to talk about, how did you meet Steve Harvey? Because I saw you actually did his other show, Me and the Boys, prior to the Steve Harvey show. You know, I do my research.
Oh, all right. Like I said, I was pilot queen. I did the pilot for Me and the Boys, and It was his first show. And speaking of which, the full circleness of everything, I went back to Kim Fields. Her mom is Chip Fields, who is one of my first acting instructors, but she was also one of the acting coaches on set with Steve. So just throwing that out there. Wow. Amazing woman. But I booked the job, and it kind of helped that I knew Chip, because Steve was so, woo, you think he country now. He was, Lord, he was beachy country. And they wanted to surround him with familiarity, even though he didn't really know me, but Chip knew my energy and my spirit. So I was able to play off of him. And it was just a guest spot. Then cut to, that's why it's all about relationships. That was a little ABC show that he did, and it ran for a while. But when it was time for the Steve Harvey show, and this is another testimony, I didn't do the pilot for that. So on the pilot, the principal was this Jewish white man. And it's so funny because I did a series with him. Have your friend Google Minor Adjustments. That was like my first real series on NBC. And
Lee, Google Minor Adjustments.
I'm doing it right. You're gonna get me fired. You know what? We don't need. Listen.
He's sitting somewhere with his hand in his pants. All right. Oh.
Face, and he was so funny. Mitch something. But he was a regular on Minor Adjustments with me, and we had this whole little banter and things like that. Anyway, he ended up being the principal on the Steve Harvey show on the pilot. They pick up the pilot. Network was like, wow, the WB network, which doesn't even exist anymore. They were like, well, we want to spice it up and, maybe add a female, this, that, and the other. So I had to jump through the hoops, and I ended up booking the principal that was transformed from, this old Jewish man to, Regina Greer.
Wow.
Is that crazy?
Wow.
And it ended up being like, man, you talk about fun. And that was at the time when he and Said they were kings of comedy. So, it's like every day you got to sit down and watch a full-length concert. Like, y'all, come on, we got to run it. And me and Terry was like, I need to run lines. I find these moments. They were like, oh, relax. Anyway, so I'm sitting up there, and it was like, I was like, oh my God. But it was the best time and the greatest time. And the biggest thing that I learned too, because Steve was, they were balling out of control. He took us all, the students, the kids that played the students, myself included, brought in all his investors, sat down, helped us. Okay, this is what you do with your money. This is what you don't do. Yes, this is like 96, 97. So
that's amazing. He did that.
I'm forever grateful for that. Forever. So I try and pay that forward as much as possible, because people don't know. And then you got taxes, you got this, you got that, no, take that chunk, do this, do that. And a lot of the people, the Merrill Lynch people I'm still working with today. So wow. It's been.
I just told my niece last night, I was talking to her, she's 13. And I said, if I give you $10,000, you go buy a candy store or candy. And she said, well, I'll buy candy. And I said, well, no. I said, I think you want to buy the candy store. I said, you could sell the candy that's at the candy store. She said, well, I could buy candy and sell it. Why do I need to have the store? I say, that's smart of you. I say, the reason you need to have the store, because you could then in the future sell the store and increase your investment. So I said, not only did you make money from selling the candy, but now you sold the building, and you've also made a profit from that as well. And then she was like, oh, okay. She was trying to fight me at first because she's 13, but she said something like, I just go to Amazon. I said, but don't you realize Amazon is the candy store?
Exactly. That's the Willy Wonka.
That's the Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka.
Right. You want to be Willy Wonka. And then the game. So how did your role, I know you talked about it briefly earlier, but how did the series, the game, come about? How did that kind of spin into, the game from your role on Girlfriends to becoming the game?
I never did Girlfriends.
Oh, so you never did do Girlfriends?
I auditioned forever and never.
I thought you did a guest role on there, and then that kind of,
I wish. Actually, Tia, the way that they introduced it, it was an episode of Girlfriends where Tia's character, Melanie, was established as Tracy Ellis Ross's cousin.
Oh, okay.
So it was a whole backstory. And I mean, you talk about a cast that flipped. Aldous Hodge was the original Derwin.
Crazy. He
Who
killing it
shameless
right now.
plug. He's one of my AGC babies. I've known him since he was 10. And he's blown up like amazing, amazing. But he was the original Derwin in that. And it was like 3 different melodies. That whole casting process for the game. And even when that's why I said it's never final till it's final. You know, everybody's like, ooh, congratulate. I don't post nothing or tell anybody. I keep it between Jesus and my mama when I book. Because you never know. I mean, I've seen people gone after table reads. I've seen them gone after the first, producers run through. So, and that's what happened on the game. Even Kelly Pitt's character, it was a whole other Kelly Pitts that they had, and she was Canadian, and she was very the Stepford wife. It wasn't that she wasn't funny, it was just a very different fit.
Right.
Like she was the perfect 1954 wife in her comedy. And then boom, they bring in Brittany Daniel. Kelsey Grammer did one walkthrough. This is how deep it is. He did one walkthrough and we're rehearsing. You never know. And he just slowly walked through. And then the next day, there were new actors.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hey, that's why you always got to be on your P's and Q's, because you never know who's watching. Like I said, someone always watching anyways.
Which I'm hoping Henry Winkler didn't see me fuck up that monologue the way I did. I'm so worried about Henry Winkler.
You know what's so funny? Henry do watch the cuts though.
Oh my God! So embarrassed. I'm telling you, I've been a fan of his forever. He's a Juilliard. I think he's Juilliard dude.
I gotta hit him up to get on the podcast because he DMs me like if he here you go. I'm finna make your freaking day. He DM'd me saying how good our scenes were.
Show me.
There you.
Show me.
Guess what?
You about to make my day.
I got the DMs, yo.
I have been, and he's one of those actors that I know it took forever for him to shake that Fonzie that persona and all of that, because that's how I knew that, he was classically trained and he was this and he was that. But he has really, you talk about longevity.
Yeah.
And said something a long time ago, there's no finish line in this business, but he is really parlayed it and he's still acting when he acts. But I didn't even know he was a freaking producer on MacGyver.
He was a producer on the original MacGyver too. Yeah. Paid. He is paid. I mean, you ain't got to look for it now. Just text it to me, I'll just text it to you.
Make my day. Yeah. So what a ride. I'm excited for you.
Well, I appreciate that. You've been nothing but supportive since we met. All right. This the last thing I want to ask you. How has it been being a Black woman in Hollywood? What's some of the struggles that you feel like you faced as a Black woman in Hollywood?
Wow. The lack of roles and the challenges that come with that. So, if you look at our counterparts, there's so many leads, the Kate Winslet, Scarlett Johansson, the this, the that, everybody's got a movie. And then, there's Viola, Angela, we're a handful in terms of the roles that really become available, that if you compare it apples per apples, it is what it is. So that's a challenge, and now you got so many of the film stars doing television. Mm-hmm. Even though there's so many other platforms, but now that pool is getting crowded, the watering hole, it gets smaller and smaller. And I don't focus on that, but I'm just seeing the shift, of course, when I heard that Viola wasn't getting her due in terms of pay, that blew me away with that. I know I've always seen it with women and men, especially, being on a show like the Steve Harvey Show. It was, you knew who was cash cow and everybody else got crumbs.
Right.
I mean, not like that. I mean, it is what it is.
Oh, I was dealing with that. So no, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So that's been hard. So between being a woman and having to deal not only with, being a Black woman, but being a woman in this business has been different. But I'm just so proud of so many female directors and producers that are out there right now. And, I'm ready to take the leap. It's just like, ooh, between my nonprofit, that's the only reason, because my school was my baby, that I haven't really, worn that hat and wig as well. Because there's just so many moving parts. And it's like, my word has been balance. And I really want balance. And one thing that I can say through this whole quarantine and all of that, it's like at the end of the day, I just want to be happy. Mm-hmm. Like the chase, I'm good. I'm good with it, and I feel like, the roles and the work that I do now, I really want them to be meaningful, impactful, or at least fun. If I ain't having fun at the end of the day, I'm good. So, yeah, I think that's the greatest thing, is that there's just not as many yet. And, are we going to get there? Everything is a reboot or a remake. It's like, okay.
Trust me,
I feel for my writers, the new ideas and all of that. So
they just sent me a reboot for some TV show. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I just fucking did MacGyver. I did Rush Hour. I was in the movie 21 Jump Street. I'm like, I'm the reboot king. I'm like, God damn.
Hey, look, don't knock it. Look, don't knock it.
Yeah, straight up. I'm going to tell you one of the best things you told me is, like, don't take this show for granted, or being on a network show for granted, And finally, this is the last thing I wanted to ask you, was because you kind of touched on it, the school is your baby. I thought it was something very interesting that you told me on set, which was how you don't have any kids. And it was because I think the reason was you were so focused on your career. And because I was asking you about working on the set of Insecure with Issa. So anyways, what do you have to say about that? Do you have anything to say for any upcoming, women, in the industry when it comes to whether to make time to have a family or focus on your career, or, just what's your thoughts on that? Because I thought it was very interesting.
It is very interesting. And, nobody can tell you your walk, because nobody can tell me. It was like, I got a job to do. I'm going to work. I'm going, and, and it was very interesting. And I forgot who I was listening to, but it really hit me. And it was like, don't let this business rob you of your womb. And I was like, ooh, rob me of my womb, and I had never thought about that. But sometimes, we get into this, our masculine energy as women, and, we want to go with the same rate as, men, but men have a different trajectory, let the man be the man, and sometimes it's okay if you want to take the time to make the time to have your legacy,
right.
And all of that. So I'm the last one to tell somebody what to do, but going back to being in quarantine and COVID, it's like, well, who gonna take care of me? I go into Precious, and I'm like, who? So you start thinking, and really, at the end of the day, because I've lost so many friends and acquaintances, in this past year and a half. And, I don't want to end on a sad note, but I want to end on some real shit.
Right, straight up.
At the end of the day, we work for all of this, and then you can't take it with you. Denzel got this whole thing. Ain't going to be no U-Haul truck behind that hearse, okay?
Right.
So, just, plant your seeds and water them and enjoy your life. And, if you choose to have a family with that right person, because it could make you or break you as well. I've seen, a lot of, my I wouldn't even call them friends, but, associates, have families, and it's like hell. But, I do believe that procreating is a beautiful thing too, just wasn't a choice that I made. And I don't live in any regret at all, but it was just an observation. Sometimes we got 13 months to be still and really examine our lives. And it's like, yeah. I know, things that make you go,
Yeah. I was gonna say Kevin. I don't know if you listen to Kevin Samuels. Have you heard of him? But it's like he's a dude that gives like relationship advice to women. Women call in. He's very blunt.
He where the money reside. He the one that's like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of Atlanta.
I think he out of Atlanta. Yeah, I think
he
so.
Everywhere. Okay, I did hear one of his things. Yeah.
But I was just listening to him on someone else's podcast, but he said that's when he noticed a lot of single women fear or like, oh my God, it was during quarantine. He said when he was at a grocery store and he saw the look of Black women, like, what the fuck do I do? And then so it's ironic that you said that. This is a man speaking that on a different podcast I was watching, but he said it was during quarantine at the grocery store. He would see the look in these women's eyes like, holy shit, I don't have a man. I don't have a man.
Oh my God. No, wait, now look, now I got to talk to my sisters too, because it's like, it ain't about, I mean, you can freeze your eggs, you can adopt, you can do a lot of things. So
right.
I want to incite scarcity.
Right.
There is abundance that is available. So I don't want to come from a place of scarcity and, oh Lord, I can't find a man. No,
right.
Because he's a trip. That's why I said I've listened to him once, because I was like, woo, and I'd be done jumped off a roof, honey, if I keep listening to you. It's like, it's over for me. Oh my God, I can't. Yeah. Exactly who you're talking about. But no, ladies, we can have it all. It's just choices that we make and how we make it all possible.
That's right. You heard it. You heard it from the mouth of Wendy Raquel Robinson. You got anything you want to say before we end?
No, just please, if you guys get a chance, go to my website, amazinggraceconservatory.org. And, we're really transforming the lives of a lot of young people, not only in Los Angeles, but because we've had to pivot and go online. If you are interested, if you have any children that are interested from the ages of 5 to 18, it's an incredible place, not just for the arts, but for self-discovery, and it's a platform where they can be themselves. And this is a time, I want to say, post-COVID, where our young people are going to need to tap into that mental health, because it's a lot that they've been holding on to. And, we need to release. And I can honestly say the art saved my life. So if I could pay that forward in any way, check it out. And I will see you very soon.
Straight up.
And we need to be doing some things.
Yeah.
Hello.
We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen for sure.
Well, I'm inspired. I want to do a podcast. I'm like, this is cute. So all we do is just talk.
I told you. I want everybody to know, I told her on the set of MacGyver's, like, you need to start a podcast, because I'm telling you, we got the same energy, yo. You like to talk, I like to talk. You need to just
But you did your research. Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
I'm out here.
I'm
out here.
Okay.
Well, I didn't want you to feel like you were wasting your time. So I was like, let me make sure I got my shit together.
No, you got it together. It was great. It was absolutely great. So
great. Well, we will definitely work together soon. I'm sure we'll be chatting soon. I appreciate you. You're a queen. Keep doing your thing.
King. Thank you.
Thank you. And all right, y'all, this has been Urban Legends Podcast, celebrating living legends and people making legendary moves.
Yes, darling, still legendary. Okay. All right, I love you, Justin.
I love you too.
Okay, be good, baby.
Peace.
Bye.